Hey everyone, this is Voice Acting Stories with Veronica Barrera, a voiceover podcast interviewing voice actors, casting directors, talent agents, producers, writers, engineers, tech people, and others that work in the industry. How did they get into voice acting? What key things to learn from voice acting? Learn all you can from these incredible people. Today, my special guest is Terry Berland. She's an award-winning casting director based in Los Angeles, where she casts on-camera, commercial, voiceover, animation, games, hosting, theater, and film. Her casting career spans over 25 years and has earned her casting awards that include Clio, the Houston International Film Festival, Art Directors Club, Addy, and the International Film and Television Festival. Terry's teaching around the country has been a leading factor in the trend of performance being real, truthful, and connected. Her understanding of talent's needs lead her to write the book Breaking into Commercials, which is the #1 go-to book in the industry. Terry is known for casting legions of commercials throughout the years that have given countless actors work in ad campaigns including Apple, Taco Bell, Voice of the Chihuahua, Volkswagen, Nike, Old Navy, Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, Discover Card, Pepsi, Comcast, Nissan, Red Bull, and Burger King, to name a few. Welcome to the show, Terry. I'm super excited to chat with you today.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, let's dive right in. Are you a coffee or tea person?
Well, I love coffee, but I'm not supposed to have it that much. So I also love matcha tea. It's an acquired taste, and luckily I have it.
Not so much for me. My husband is a huge fan of matcha. I am not. I like the smell, but that's about it.
It doesn't taste as good when you make it at home as when you go to a coffee place that really makes it great.
Yes, there's a place in Little Tokyo. I forgot the name of this little cute place, but they sell only matcha products like matcha tea, matcha coffee, matcha desserts, croissants, matcha ice cream. It's really cool. Really cool.
Whoa, you have to send it to me.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yes, I'll send. I forgot the name, but I'll totally tell you. Of course. What's your favorite guilty pleasure snack?
I would say chocolate in various forms.
Like a chocolate croissant?
I'll take that too. A nice chunk of chocolate with nuts in it. Salt. Oh, chocolate with sea salt is great. Dark chocolate.
Oh man, I love chocolate too, but I have to stay away. It's so good, but as I've as
Yes,
I've
let's stop talking about it.
where's your favorite place to travel?
I I just love exploring. Uh, when I was younger, every time, and I had a staff job, every vacation I would go to someplace different around the United States. Um, I love out west, and now I live out west in California. I love exploring the coastline. Oh, the California coastline. When you go up towards Monterey. And then, of course, I love Europe and Israel. I could go back there many times.
Something about travel that can help spark us creatively for those of us that are creative in whatever capacity. Um, I think it's so magical. It takes us away from the reality that we do every day, and sometimes it gives us a jump start on the creative passions.
Yeah, and I think those of us who are creative, we're curious. I think it takes a great curiosity to be creative. So travel fits into that realm.
Mm, I love it. What's something that people don't know about you?
Well, I just discovered this myself. I knew I loved analyzing scripts and things and situations, but I'm really convinced of it now because I started playing pickleball. And as you get better and take more classes, you get into the strategy of it. And I just love strategies. And in this case, it's pickleball.
Oh man, it seems kind of hard. I know that sounds weird to say that, but from someone that's coming from tennis, I don't know how hard it is or easy it is to learn. So,
Well, people think it's easy. You just hit the ball, with this paddle. And like I was playing with someone last night, and it's a mixer. So you mix up and get with people who you don't know. And she didn't know strategy at all. She knew how to hit a ball somewhat. And like she would come in front of me, take my ball, and I'd say nicely, that was actually my ball. And she said, well, it really doesn't matter as long as you get the ball. So sometimes, what you don't know, you really don't know.
yeah, I'd hope that seems like a fun sport to learn, but I'm already doing a couple other sports, so I think.
What else besides tennis?
Oh, golf. I play golf. I like to do hikes. I go on walks. So I run. So I like to stay pretty active. But tennis is really fun. It's a lot of cardio. But pickleball is very low cardio, but it's still very good for you. It's not as intense as tennis. So
It really is very intense when you're up at the net and you have to keep reacting extremely quickly and moving.
yeah,
You really have to move.
that sounds so fascinating. I need to try it one of these days. I see them all at Target, the pickleball rackets. I'm like, well, I have to paddles, rackets. Thank you. Awesome. I love it. If you could have dinner with someone, who would it be and why?
Oh, there's, there's quite a number of people, celebrities and political figures that come up, but I'm going to give a surprising answer. I would love my grandfather to be alive again. And I would love to sit down with him and have an adult conversation with him that I didn't know how to have when he was around. And he was an immigrant, from Russia. And I would ask, what was it like? What was it like, that made your family and families to move? And what was it like on the ship coming over and all that kind of stuff? History, family history, and history of that era in itself.
No, I'm right there with you. I love family history. I love family history so much, like where you came from, because you don't know, you can't go forward until you know where you've been. So I think it really speaks volumes for me. Like I've always been passionate about my family and my family tree. I think it's fabulous. So, what made you want to be a casting director?
I actually fell into it when I got into it before there was internet. When we actually talked, there were no cell phones. We actually talked on telephones and used a pen and a piece of paper. So I lived in New York City, and I wanted a job where there are a lot of opportunities for women. And I was told advertising had a lot of exciting opportunities for women. So one of my friends worked, and this was the mecca of advertising at the time, Madison Avenue ad agencies. And I got a job at an ad agency, ultimately in a casting department, where I answered phones, took messages, gave the messages to my boss. Um, and I fell in love with it. And then I climbed up the ladder. And at the time, there were no freelance casting directors, especially in commercials. And so a friend couldn't give you a job where you could call yourself a casting director. You had to be in this corporate environment where there was a casting department, and there were a lot of them. Get a job, then be promoted. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the talent. And at the time, once I got promoted from an assistant to a full-time casting director, full position casting director, we had expense accounts that covered going to the theater, dinner, and taxis going back and forth. It was pretty amazing. We didn't get paid a lot, but that was a really big perk. And then eventually I worked my way up the ladder and became head of casting at BBDO, which at the time was the third largest agency in the world, ad agency in the world. I fell into it, and then I fell in love with it.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I think, I don't know. I've heard Sarah Jane Sherman came on a while ago, and she was telling kind of the same. I knew I wanted to do something with being creative, and it's so interesting to hear, especially, casting directors, it's a very specific uh, job.
Yeah, it's a combination of you have to be of two brains. You have to use both sides of your brain. You have to be very creative, curious, open-minded. I think to be a good casting director, there has to be a compassion, and yet you also have to be extremely organized, which takes a great business sense, because and once you're on your own, you have to set up systems for your organization. You have to be able to deal with assistants, bookkeeping, getting out invoices, putting estimates together even before the job starts. And even before the job starts, you have to think business wise, terms of agreement, and get all that straight. So it takes a lot of different elements to be a good casting director.
And yet somehow they all fall into place like a puzzle.
They all fall, you put the work into it and it all falls into place. Now, a lot of casting directors, just like actors, have to be really good at improv because it falls into place, then it falls out of place, things start falling apart, and you very quickly have to change your strategy and make that change work as things are changing. You have to make that work. We are constantly, when we're in the middle, especially on camera, when we're in the middle of a big job, they'll constantly throw changes up at us. And even voiceover, if I have a big package with a lot of roles, there's usually changes. I don't surf, but I always felt like it was jumping up on a surfboard, riding the crest of a wave, and making the changes as you go along, constantly making the changes to keep everything on course, upright, because the kilter is gonna be off, and then you have to keep straightening it out. And then eventually the end result is, yay, we book talent, they go to the studio, they do a great job.
Yeah, I love it. It sounds like there's a whole lot of moving pieces, but it all, like you said, it all comes together at some point, and then you're saying it's like improv. So that's really cool. I've never heard that kind of concept before, because I've always think, oh, it's probably a lot easier than being an actor. Like, well, probably not, because you're doing so many different things. Your hands are in so many different things, and then you have to keep it all in a way together. So I think that's so cool to hear that. Um, what has been your favorite project that you've worked on, or favorite projects?
I have a lot. When I get into different worlds, I love it. Like recently, this was for on camera, I needed uh Disney enthusiasts, Disney trivia nerds. And when you start putting the breakdown out, and what starts coming back to you is just amazing. And you get into the underbelly of a culture that you didn't know before. But my very favorite is voiceover um, animation, casting voices that are not animated voices, that are regular voices, that have the personality and the sound to match the characters. That's my very favorite.
Yeah, you've done a ton of stuff.
I am known for that, and I get really great projects doing that. And then, of course, infamously, the Taco Bell Chihuahua voice, which now is quite a while ago. And that was fascinating because they tried another casting director before me. And then they come to me and they say, help, help, you have to help us. Like, we need it right away. And I'm thinking to myself, why didn't you come to me in the beginning? Like, why do you come to me afterwards when someone else couldn't come through? That's fascinating in itself. And they said they needed the voice of this Chihuahua it was just supposed to start out as 4 spots. And I said, okay, well, let me see the list of who you already had in, who you already auditioned. And I analyzed it quickly. And I said, they're all missing the personality aspect. So one casting session, they found someone they loved. They found a lot of people they loved, and they picked this one person. And it was just supposed to be 4 spots. It turned out to be mega for quite a number of years. You can just imagine what this voiceover artist made. Yeah.
I think that came out in the 90s. If I ever did read.
No,
No?
no,
Or is it
no,
2000s?
it was 2000s.
2000s? Okay, because
Yeah.
I remember that like it was yesterday. So, and this is, 20 something years later.
And
Iconic.
it was Carlos Rocky who booked it. And to this day, he'll be on panels. And at that year, those years, we would have the talent in. So we could invite like 45 people in a day, direct each person. And everyone who came in, every voiceover artist wanted to put on a character voice. And I'd say, no, 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 use your own voice, but let out your personality. And Carlos says this on panels. If this comes up, he thanks me. He said, listen to your casting directors. This casting director, Terry, she would not let me put on that character voice that I was insisting on. Finally, I did one for her just to make her happy. And Yeah, because my clients, you don't go through what we go through. We don't want put on character voices. We don't want that. So we have to bring in to our clients, which is the ad agency producers, who's ever producing the spot, and come through for them. Otherwise, they won't want to use us again. So when we give actors direction, and now that it's in writing, we don't have each one and every one of you in to direct. We're as specific as possible. So really read the direction. Then, of course, you have to know how to come through with your voice.
Hey everyone, this is Veronica. This is the part one of my conversation with Terry. Tune in next week for the incredible conclusion. Are you tired of doing everything yourself for your voice acting business? I can help ease your busy schedule because I specialize in helping voice actors. With my design background, I can make your projects come to life. I can help with business cards, logos, websites, large InDesign documents, and any other graphic design needs. I'm also a social media manager for your business, great at lead generation, podcast intros and outros, and so much more. Feel free to contact me on my website at veronicabarrera.com. Again, this is Voice Acting Stories wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. If you can leave a review and rating, that would be fantastic. Thanks so much for listening. Hey everyone, this is Voice Acting Stories with Veronica Barrera, a voiceover podcast interviewing voice actors, casting directors, talent agents, producers, writers, engineers, tech people, and others that work in the industry. How did they get into voice acting? What key things to learn from voice acting? Learn all you can from these incredible people. Today, my special guest is Terry Berland. Hey everyone, this is Veronica. This is the part two of my conversation with Terry. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully you enjoy it. Yeah, that's great. I think we'll get to the audition stuff in a second, but I can tell that there's a lot more you want to say, and I love it. I love the passion. I mean, sure. Since we're on the topic of auditions, what are your top 5 biggest pet peeves about receiving auditions?
Definitely, if you don't follow directions, seems obvious, but sometimes people don't. Um, Also, do not put in a lead line for your TV auditions. Sometimes you need it for your emotional setup. Edit it out. We're not interested in your emotional setups. And for TV, we're not interested in a clever lead in line. Our clients are listening to the words of the script and then they're imagining it to the picture. Also, the third biggie is don't over edit your auditions. There are some people that edit out, I'm going to call it the breaths, the moment between sentences. And every good voiceover person knows that it's a much shorter moment than in real life. But some people have been editing out those moments. There is life that lives in those moments. And it's a really big mistake to edit them out. And those edited auditions don't get past me because there's no life. It's just someone saying the words very, very quickly. Those are the big three. I don't think I have any others.
Fair enough. No, it's good because you know, as actors, myself included, we're always okay. Let's how do we make it up? How do we make it better? How do we do this? How do we do that? And so not only do we have to perform, But then we have to put on our audio engineer hat afterwards and like listen to the takes. Ooh, I have to do a pickup. Oh, I didn't say that word right. Or oh, So, those are the things like I just had a big audition I had to edit. It was like felt like 7 minutes, but that's a long time to say a lot of stuff.
And check the sound, your levels before you send it in to us. Every once in a while, and it's a good voiceover talent. I know them. And something happened and they didn't do the final levels right. And it's very, very faint. If I have time, I'll quickly email the agent, and I always attach the recording so they can hear what I'm talking about. I'll say, please have so and so do it again. Something happened to their levels.
All the testing and there's people to help you with your booths if you're not sure, and so the pros
It's called neutralize, right? You neutralize it at the end.
normalize.
Normalize.
Yes. Yes. I used to do a ton of effect stack racks and I realized it just didn't make me sound as punchy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just detracted from all the effect stack racks. Not to say that those aren't good, but I realized very quickly I sound different. I don't sound like me. And so then, yeah, so now I've gotten to bare bones editing. I only do three things.
If it's polished, we're not interested in the audition. We're not interested in technically polished.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
now
an audition.
yeah, so now I do three things to edit and it sounds really good. So, I mean, obviously it still has to sound good. Like you can't be hearing airplanes going through and dogs barking and stuff like that. You obviously don't want that, but I'm sure you've heard that. But I think
The level of people I work with, no, I don't hear that.
oh, that's good. I hear it, and gotta wait and let it pass and then record again. So those are the tricks.
Sometimes when people are away from their booth, which you have every right to be, and I have something, especially if it's a redo, if I'm asking you to redo something, some people, you can do it on your phone, and some people, the sound sounds great, and other people, it sounds like they're in a tin can. And there are little apparatuses that you can carry around with you now, little mics, and I don't have a list of them that are very conducive to traveling. So I would say, as a voiceover artist, always have something. Be prepared that you might be asked to record something when you're on the run. And the great thing about voiceover is you can be independent. You can be on the run. You don't have to be in the city where it's being cast. Agents are representing people in any city, which never used to be. They don't care where you live, just have the right equipment.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. You can live. I can't think of her name right now. Is it Sarah Sikora? She is from Detroit and signed with big agent, and she works remotely primarily. She doesn't have to go into like she wrote a book about it actually, working remotely because that's where the world is headed. That's where it's been headed. Yeah, yeah,
It's there. It's not headed for voiceover.
yeah.
It's absolutely there. When I have a booking with 4 or 5 people or more, I'm located in LA. Maybe 1 or 2 are in LA, and the others are in different parts of the country.
That's so cool. It really is. It just shows that 2020, there was a lot of bad things that happened, but then out of it came a lot of good things. And so you can take classes remotely now, from all over the world.
My classes are all remote. I have people from all over the place in one workshop. And the cool thing is, the night that we start, everyone introduces themselves. And now I have everyone say where they're located, because it is an indication of where the voiceover business is. It doesn't have those boundaries. So I think working in a workshop without those boundaries is, it's just like, it just represents what's going on right now at the moment. It's why I do my workshops online, because the sound of your equipment is being checked out. If you have equipment, we start people too. They don't need equipment in the beginning, but it's more in reality, because someone is not there anymore until you're at the booking and you're in the same city and you can go to the studio. It's not reality if I'm standing in the same room with you teaching. It's different. You're not using your own equipment. And then, of course, it comes up more prominently if you're a beginner with me. You're not expected to have equipment right away. What equipment do you need? And then other people who you're working with already have equipment, and people start sharing, putting in the text what their equipment is. So it's, that part of it is really cool.
So you mentioned teaching. Why do you enjoy teaching so much?
I love, again, analyzing step by step and then seeing the end result. So when I work with talent, that's what I'm doing. And I love encouraging people, and I love hearing the changes in them. I think deep down, when I looked at this, I think it's because I didn't have that when I was younger and pursuing what I was wanted to pursue. Like, who's going to help me? Where are you? Help. I had to figure it all out for myself. I got a lot of street smarts from it, but I love being there for, in this case, talent. Yeah, I love seeing the results. I love finally hearing their demos. I love that they're out there. I love when they report back to me, send me some emails, or I follow people, we all follow each other on social media. My Instagram is probably the most active of all of my social medias. And I see when they're represented by an agent, and when you guys who are listening, who are talent, you post something that you did, or your agent posts something that you booked. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm getting all giddy and excited about it now. And I think that's the thing too, is the voiceover industry is so giving, so loving. We have each other's backs, and just we look out for each other. I think it's such a giving community. I don't know how else to say it.
I agree with you. And there are events throughout the year. Nava, who is just popped up probably about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now, all supporting voiceover actors, going to Washington, D.C., meeting with the powers that be regarding AI. They've developed, I don't know how it works. I haven't had time to really look into it, but I understand there's health insurance that actors can get. Voiceover actors is for the voiceover community. They put on a fundraiser event every year, which I go to, and we're all there, casting, talent, producers. We're all on an equal level doing our own thing. I'm doing my casting thing. You're doing your voiceover acting artist thing. Producers are producing, but it's, we all depend on each other. I know a casting director is nothing without good talent. Nothing. Sometimes I go to conventions. There's one convention I go to, VO Atlanta, and oh, your head will spin. It's just full of casting directors and talent who are booking a lot with seminars, workshops, um, socializing. It's just really, really fun. And I leave there so elated and yeah, just really feeling very, very positive. And it's the voiceover community.
Yeah, that's great. It's fantastic. I agree with everything you said as well.
You really don't.
I didn't want to say that, but I don't know because I'm not in it. But for someone that does works on camera, you would know a lot more than I would. So
Yeah, actors are very kind to each other on camera. When you take a workshop, you get to meet other actors, you can network with them, you can find agents through other actors. I'm not saying that it's not supportive, it's just different as far as events go.
yeah, that's great. Um, AI, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but AI is such a hot topic right now. Where do you see the future with AI?
I'm the wrong one to ask. I have no knowledge about it. I just know on the surface that there's good that can come out of it and really bad that can come out of it. So I would say go to the NAVA website. They're really into AI, what's going on, protecting talent, and you can find a lot of knowledge there. I'm just I just hear what I hear, and I really don't know. I have no inside information. But Nava has a lot. Nava is being very proactive. So not only do they know what they know, but they're being proactive. So I would say follow them when it comes regarding AI.
And there's a ton of resources. If you want to read up about it, I just went to a Nava thing last night for 2 hours. I don't know if, yeah, I think it's on, hopefully on replay. I don't know if they're going to put it on their website, but Tim, Karin, Matthew, Sissy Jones were all there, as well as Jennifer Sunbell, and they were talking about AI and what they were fighting for. And now I watch everything on the AI, and I like to stay abreast and informed because I didn't want to. For a while, I didn't want to. For a long time, I didn't want to deal with it, and I was like, I don't want to. I'm gonna stick my head in the sand. No, let's we're stronger together, and let's learn about this. Let's see what this is. What is this? Asking the questions, getting that feedback, and they're smart people. They're very smart, and going to Capitol Hill, fighting for us. I think that I think there's two acts they talked about. Let me see if I find my notes. Give me 1 second.
I'm sure there's going to be a replay of it someplace, and I am definitely going to listen to it.
So there's two acts that they went to Capitol Hill to talk to Congress about was the No Fakes Act and the No AI Fraud Act. So, but I'm pretty sure the replay will be on their website, and they have lots of resources. So if you have questions, they're constantly busy too. So they give their time. It's a nonprofit, but donate if you can. Donate if you can. They are amazing, just amazing,
I
amazing.
totally agree. have a mailing list from all my workshops and inquiries. And I sent out a blast quickly yesterday afternoon to everyone, telling them about this webinar. So I'm sure a lot of people were on there listening.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Specifically for voiceover, but I think it's a hint of, what all talent are going through. So I put it out to my voiceover actors who study with me and my on-camera actors who have studied with me.
Yeah, because SAG is doing a lot too. SAG after is doing a lot too, and I see Duncan Crabtree. I think I think that's his name, but uh, they're doing a lot. I know, right? But I was like, yeah, they're doing a lot too, and because Tim's a part of SAG after us, so he's also in the know, and for the most part, like, okay, what's going on? Let's get this, working with, I'm sure Duncan and the whole team there too. So again, they're very smart, very intelligent, but and so happy to be able to go. I'm hoping to go in December, so maybe I'll see you there. So I love it. So you have 3 words to tell your 20-year-old self. What are they?
Only 3?
Okay, 5.
Put the work in and trust. Then trust. Do your work, then trust.
Yep, that's great. I love it. Do you have a website, and where can people find you?
I do. Terry Berland Workshops.com. And from there, you can go to Berland Casting. Or you can go to Berland Casting and get to Terry Berland Workshops.com. It's on the Terry Berland Workshops where I have ways that I can work with you. I have my on-camera workshop and then advanced workout nights and then voiceover. It goes under Voice Print West. And I have a core Kickstart that I do with another teacher, and then that goes into intermediate advanced IA branding and demo prep, and then specialty one night workshops. Like I have a home read and self-direct that people can jump into on a pop-up, I call them pop-ups, pop-up basis. I love the branding because my branding is not the typical branding for your website or the look of everything. I use the branding to get actors very, very advanced, voiceover artist advanced. And I use the branding to advance them because once you know your adjectives, and I have everyone collect visuals of their adjectives, and once you see a visual and throughout the weeks you get more honed in and sharpened up your list of adjectives. First your list expands, then through your reads you start hearing the same adjectives again. It starts sharpening it up. And then when you look at a visual that you're collecting for your voice, you can hear your voice voicing a spot of this visual type. And you get so confident that you can step up to the mic way beyond technique. You own that read. There are a lot of times I'm a guest at very advanced classes, and I'll say, what's your branding? What's your voice type? I don't really know. Well, you must have some adjectives. I never thought of it that way, so we all evolve. You evolve as artists, and my voiceover training has evolved into this branding system that I have. I'm very excited about it.
It's awesome. That's so cool. Teaching and all that you're doing. Is there anything that you would like to plug or promote?
I would say the workshops. um, Go to terryberlandworkshops.com. You can see them all. I write for blogs for the Casting Network newsfeed. I give a lot of information there. So on that website, you can see podcasts. This podcast will end up there. There's a lot of cool information also on that website. Podcasts, my blogs, and workshops that will resonate with any of you listening for whatever you need.
You do some pretty cool workshops too. I've seen you work with some of the best, and you teach them, and then you have other guests come on. So it's a whole collaborative process.
It is, because I don't teach everything. Other people do. So I love knowing other people in the industry, what they do. I'll refer people to them. Just like when you ask me about AI, I say, I'm not the one. I'm not knowledgeable. I'm just trying to get all the information on that I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like you have a lot going on, and that's so exciting. And I'll definitely put the links in the show notes so people can sign up for some fun workshops and all the amazing things that you're doing. So, of course. Well, there you have it, friends. You heard it from Terry. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been fantastic.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Are you tired of doing everything yourself for your voice acting business? I can help ease your busy schedule because I specialize in helping voice actors. With my design background, I can make your projects come to life. I can help with business cards, logos, websites, large InDesign documents, and any other graphic design needs. I'm also a social media manager for your business, great at lead generation, podcast intros and outros, and so much more. Feel free to contact me on my website at veronicabarrera.com. Again, this is Voice Acting Stories wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. If you can leave a review and rating, that would be fantastic. Thanks so much for listening.